Welcome to another Sunday. It's, of course, the great debate right here on the late night platform. As usual, we invite political parties to come and discuss current topics based on, what they believe in, so that you can get to see the different sides from the different political parties who will be contesting the upcoming elections. Of course, this is the great debate, and today we are joined by two parties. We did invite several other parties to come, and as usual, I'll do my disclaimer and say that we invited the Democratic Party. They have not shown up for the past three shows. Also, the Now, we invited them to come also today. Looked like last week they were able to come, but not this week. The National Alliance, also a no-show since the beginning of these programs. But we will continue to bring those who are willing to come and discuss St. Martin issues, because, again, at the end of the day, it's about informing the people and also getting to know your candidates for the upcoming elections. Today, I am joined by the URSM party and also the United People's Party. Representing the United People's Party is the president of the board of the UP, Mr. Francisco La Cruz. How are you doing, sir?
A blessed evening to one and all. Andrew, thank you for inviting us both to this debate this evening. I'm looking forward to letting you know what's up.
Of course. And from the URSM, new kid on the block, but not really, because his father has been involved in politics for most of his life. And that is, of course, Rolex Jr.
How are you, sir? How are you doing today?
Good, sir. How are you doing?
Thank you. Thank you for having me once again on your program. Appreciate it.
No problem.
Appreciate
All right. Guys, of course, different political parties are contesting the upcoming elections. We have an idea, a scope of the number of parties that will be taking part, but you never know until actually postulation day. And that's where you get to see who is who and where the chips may fall, it's like I like to say. Giving the parties somewhat of a platform to showcase their different styles, also the different ideas. It's always good to have more of a roundtable discussion so that you can see the difference, or maybe they're alike, you never know. So I just wanted to give the parties, the topic for this week is new faces. And we have two new faces here. And I just want to give you guys a chance to, introduce yourself properly so that people know who you are and which party, why you decided to join the party that you're on. Let me start with Mr. Rolex.
Well, good evening to your viewers, Andrew, and to you too. My name is Julian Rolas Jr. As you said, I am a new candidate. I will be running, definitely, God sparing our lives, on the URSM. I decided to run on the URSM basically because I believe in the leader's position, in how he wants to move forward with the country of St. Martin. And we had discussions with one or two other parties, and after weighing, with your family and everything, I decided to run on the URSM.
All right. Mr. Francisco.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Francisco La Cruz. I'm not such a newbie like Andrew claimed me to be. This will be the second time I'm running on the same party, the United People's Party. I have worked extremely hard to get to where we are right now. What caused me to want to be part of this new UP party is the fact that it is an inclusive party. Decisions are made on a broad base, and the direction of the party is not by one person. It is a group, a team of people together that decide which direction the party wants to go. And that makes me feel extremely happy, because then I know that my input is extremely appreciated in the whole process. That's what caused me to want to first join and still stay on the United People's Party as a candidate.
All right. Now, as far as, a person's throwing in their hat in the whole political field, we've always seen that persons are a bit scared when it comes to that. They feel like, No, boy, they ain't ready for it because of the different drama that comes with it. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. It's not easy to be a politician
Yeah.
in this country. But, you know, you have some brave ones that still end up, you know, trying. What do you say, or what is how can parties clean up the image when it comes to, you know, representing your country at the highest body?
Andrew, it is, and I tell everyone, I say, if I knew before getting into the political realm what actually, you know,
What happens?
what
Yeah.
happens,
Yeah.
right? I might have not done it, okay? But I'm here, and that means that I am going full force. I tell everyone, have your I's dotted and your T's
Crossed. Yeah.
crossed, because people will come at you with all kinds of things. You know, you will get all kinds of offers. People will try to, you know, pull you into directions that you don't want to go. But at the end of the day, if your heart is in the right place, which is to serve your country, then you will be okay. And I think it is an honor and to be able to do so, you know. So I will not discourage anyone. I actually get extremely upset when I hear someone say, hey, this and this ain't good, this and this ain't good, this and this ain't good. I don't want to hear that. Okay, you highlighted what isn't good, but come and tell me how you think we can fix it.
Solution.
Take a step further and be part of the solution to get things done. Sitting on the side, watching, complaining, that is not who I am. That is not who anyone on the up party is. We are doers. We are going to work long days, long hours to bring this country to where we expect it to be. And that's all the way up.
All right, Mr. Roland.
You know, Andrew, I believe in nobody is perfect, that's one. But I believe you have to be an example for your people. That's one. I definitely believe that. Secondly, me personally, I've been through a lot of personal struggles, which we don't have to go into. But I do not want any other individual of this country go through that. And I realize there's a lot of different politicians coming up, even some new ones, you know. When I say new ones, it pass on, like the bad habit had passed on to the new ones. When I say bad habit, they come, for example, on your show, not my good friend here, but you know, in general, they say certain things, and in reality, it's not like that. It's a total different story. You know, I've been through it, I've seen it, and I felt it, going in various ministries. I do business on the island, as you know, and you sit down, talk to a person that was campaigning, for example, and when you sit down in front of the person after they get elected, is a whole different person is sitting down in front of you. And me, I'm 35 years old age. My age is 35 years old, and I went to school in Curacao. I did my studies at my university. I came to St. Martin and I worked hard. I came 2015, so I built myself. I built my business, and I truly believe that if somebody is going into government, there's certain basics you need to know. You need to know how to build a business, what is a business about. That is something you definitely need to know, because your stakeholders, people that you're dealing with, is business people. You know, those are people, especially, for example, a TIA department. If you don't know business, how are you going to go in that department and run that department? If you don't know land, how are you going to go in Vromi and run Vromi? You understand? If you don't know health, how are you going to go into health and deal with health? It can't work.
Yeah, but I mean, at the end of the day, is a reason why we have a democracy, and anybody is eligible to actually take office or go into parliament, whether they have qualifications or not. So that means we should change that system.
No. Of course, everybody have the right to postulate themselves. But when you do it, Andrew, I believe there's certain knowledge you need to know about before you enter the ring. And when I came, as you know, my father was in politics, but I didn't jump in the ring. I took my time, and I went through by doing business. While you're doing business, you experience a lot, Andrew. Trust me. And in St. Martin, not only me, there's a lot of how do you say, vindictiveness going on in St. Martin. You know, if you come from a family, if you come from this family, and you know what's so remarkable? I met a tourist, and he come from the U.S. and he said, how you doing? You know, me and him start to talk, and then he asked me what I'm doing, etc. And he told me, but why does so much politics play in St. Martin? So I was like, whoa, how do you know that? You know, he been talking to different business people and different owners, and they explain that it's horrible with the politics back and forth, and that is why, Andrew, I want to, not only me, but the party URSM, we want to introduce a new way of running the country. You know, staying closer to the people and dealing with the people that what is deserved.
So those who are there now are not doing it. That's what you're saying.
Well, I'm not seeing it. I'm not seeing the improvement of the country right now. There's different things, topics. Maybe a little bit after I can go on.
Yeah.
That stuff. I believe that why hasn't it changed? Why hasn't nobody did anything for so long in St. Martin? There's a lot of stuff standing watching us, and hasn't been addressed.
Mr. Lacus, you wanted to chime in?
You know, I must agree somewhat with Mr. Rolex when he speaks of knowledge. Okay, I myself, I came from the business world, so going into TIAT was really easy for me because I knew exactly, you know, what you would need to do to put a business together. I had knowledge of, you know, the whole TIAT. TIAT is not only business, by the way. It's tourism, economic affairs, aviation, transport, telecommunication, all falls under one ministry, which is TIAT. I do agree with Mr. Rolex when he says that we should place people in positions that have that type of knowledge that could run a ministry. Okay, but unfortunately, our elections are not elections for ministries. Our elections are based on parliament, which will mean that a party now will have to look on that list and see who is the best person to put into that position to be able to do the job. You know, a little story, I met Mr. Rolex a few years ago, 1 or 2 years ago, when he was having his own struggles when it comes to opening his own business. And he will attest to that I went way and beyond my scope of work, okay, by taking a drive down the lane, taking pictures of other businesses that were there when his business license was actually being denied, you know, and eventually I put them next to each other and had a discussion with my minister then, and we were able to grant him his business license. Going back to what he mentioned when he said politics being played, right? There's not one person here in St. Martin that could say they have ever called me, and it doesn't matter which party, which political party, or who they represent, or who they back, that I have not helped while being in the position I am in TIAT. Because from the point I got into TIAT, my position is work. I have no working hours. I have no working schedule. I do the work. And it doesn't matter for who the work needs to be done. So that is something that you will definitely not encounter coming in contact with me in no way whatsoever. You know, so we need to, even though Mr. Rolex didn't, you know, point, from the point that he said TIAT, I was like, okay, let's have that discussion. You know, because I am not that person. You know, never ever. No politics are ever being played in TIAT under my watch, you know, as the chief of staff now of the Minister Lambricks.
Yes.
You know, Andrew, coming back on his remarks, it's indeed, the gentleman does his efforts for the country as in the cabinet. But I was having a discussion with him also, and I told him, I said, why do we have a COM? A COM is a Council of Ministers. How do you say, the working together is not there, Andrew.
The cohesion.
It's not there. Now, if you are in the Department of TIAT, right? If you give a license for a gentleman to sell food or whatever it is, sell T-shirts, there's a spot there that was given by the minister of for example, Romy. You guys should, before that license come out, you guys should have sit together and have a discussion, you know. But it seems to me as if the departments are running on an island. So we're in one building, but everybody is on an island. And we have to work together, Andrew. We have to work together. And on the other hand, Andrew, when I say, I give an example of business, right? But when someone comes in front of you, Andrew, you need to have empathy. You need to try to relate to that person. You understand where I'm coming from? I'll just give an example of me. I have never seen poverty, right? But I have family members that have seen it. I have seen it on the island. My father was basically came from a poor family, and he explained you everything. But when you're young, you don't really understand. But when you grow up and when you go in the neighborhoods, especially right now, I think he can also talk about that because he also was on the campaign trail.
Yes.
So, but now that I'm campaigning, Andrew, you know, when I sit down and somebody, if I'm a minister, I'm in a position of power where I can change someone's life, right? We have ministers that just sit down and say, well, I can't do nothing for you, but I not even sit down and have a discussion and see. Andrew, of course, we can't do everything, but we have to reach the middle ground. We have to understand and try to.
Yeah, but at what point do we stop relying on government? At what point do we stop saying, okay, government has to do everything for us? Because, like you said, you went through the trenches. You also was determined to make sure that your business gets off the ground, and I'm sure that you did it on your own, as much as.
Yeah, but you know, Andrew, I did it on my own. But remember, the background that I have is not everybody have the same background.
Okay.
You understand? You need to have a certain backbone to go through the struggle.
Yeah.
Andrew, I've been waiting
Perseverance,
for
yeah.
I've been waiting for permits for 3-4 years, brother. You know what I is? Andrew, I know people that left St. Martin because they're tired of the politics. They ask for a permit. They take 2-3 years. When they call, there's always a story. How are we going to address the people now? How long is this going to continue going on? The government building has to be a place where people feel loved. People don't like to go there no more, Andrew, because when they go, they have to stand up in lines. They have to hear a story from a minister. It's remarkable.
I like what Mr. Rolex just said. Again, he started by saying he doesn't know poverty personally. Okay, that is good. Okay, because that means that his parents were able at that time to be able to give him the life that that he had. Vice versa. Okay, I know what is hunger. I know what is hunger. I know what it is like to go to school, right, with nothing to eat. Or sit waiting till Missy Lane comes in St. Joseph's School for the free bread and the milk, and sometimes that might have also been the only thing that you got, other to a fried egg with some French bread. So I know what it's like, and I think that helps me realize and be able to relate to people that are in that type of situation even better. I think sometimes, like you said, we expect a lot from government, and that is the one thing that kind of irritates me the most.
The
fact
dependency.
that, not even the dependency, the fact that people believe that I am entitled to, the sense of entitlement, okay? You are entitled to nothing. Work, get up, you get what you put in is what you get out. Yeah. If you get up in the morning every day and you decide I'm going to work. Listen, my mother's from the Dominican Republic. Okay, I was also born in Santo Domingo. And at the age of about 12 years old, I think about 10 years, I visited Santo Domingo. And while I was there, I was in a bus and I heard a little fellow, must have been 6-7 years, and he was screaming something, and I couldn't understand what he was saying until he came closer. What he was screaming is, "Agüita, agüita, agüita peso, agüita peso." And I turned around and I asked an uncle of mine, "What is that?" And he says, he's selling water in little plastic bags. And at that point, I realized poverty is a choice. If you don't want to get up and work, move, get up, Tell me you don't have, right? But I want to see you every day trying to figure it out.
Yeah, but some people fall in hard times. Mr.
No,
Lacroix.
a hard time is something different. A hard time, right, is everyone has been in a dip. I've been in a dip. I've been in a dip where I ended up in a situation where I got extremely depressed. I got accused of something that that was totally off, that was incorrect. I went into a stage of depression at that time. Yourself, Andrew, we've all been there. We know it exactly what it is. So what happens then at that point, when you come in contact with someone that is in that position, you know how to deal with them because you know how you would have wanted someone to deal with you. Understand? But let's go back to government. You can't expect the minister with no monies, okay? Because our coffers are actually, they're dry. And this is what bothers me also with a lot of members in parliament. They have all grand ideas, okay? Why you don't give this relief? Why you don't do that? What I need to hear is how we're going to get the monies to do that, okay? When you turn around and you give him a relief, guess who's going to pay it? When you turn around, you say, yes, raise the pension, okay? All nice. Where's the money going to come from? What are you doing to actually bring laws that are going to encourage our young people to come back after studying and contribute to the coffers of pension, that we could then give our senior citizen a better pension? That's what I want to see in Parliament. I want to see members of Parliament that are actually going to turn around and say, hey, this is a law, okay, that I'm going to bring forth that is going to encourage that young man that left to come back to contribute. Then you could say, hey, okay, let's bring this up. There's so much ways, Andrew. There's so much ways. All my plans and everything I've ever looked at, Andrew, has always been, right, a round plan. From A to Z. A to Z. I have a friend. Do you know what he calls me? The Alpha and the Omega. Do you know why he calls me that? Because every plan I've put together, if I'm going to ask you how we're going to do this, then I know exactly where the money is going to come from for us to get it done.
Yes.
Andrew,
Sure.
I have much respect for my brother here. I agree with him at a certain extent.
That's why we're here. That's why we're here.
So he's here, but I reach here with him. I'm going to tell you why. Andrew, we represent our people, and we have individuals that have not chosen to be there. Okay? St. Martin, now, it's very difficult to get a house. It's very difficult to get a mortgage. We have people looking for homes down in Belvedere, apply for homes, 16, 15, 20 years, and you see homes open and they cannot get a house, right? When they go there, arrogance, people don't want to talk to them, they don't want to deal with them, okay? Secondly, he talked about there's no money in the coffers. With all due respect to him sitting down here. Andrew, me as an opposition, when I say opposition outside here, I don't want to hear that. I elect you to office. If you want to go there and tell me they ain't got no money, we put anybody there too, and they're going to tell me the same thing. Why elect you for you to tell me you ain't got no money to do nothing for me? Andrew, we have ways and means, creativeness, how to do things, okay? Andrew, just be creative in certain things. How much casinos we have on St. Martin right now?
Too much.
How much more is coming right now?
2 more.
Okay. How much schools have we constructed in the last 3 years?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
How much? But we move in the casino license, no problem. But let me move the schools also. But before we move the schools, you know what we're gonna hear? We don't have no money, Andrew. How we don't have no money to fix the schools? There's a lot of creativeness you can do. We just talk about the boots. We got 1 million boots on the island.
360.
Okay, but I gotta really count them now, Andrew, because I was surprised when I saw that number, right? Mm-hmm. We have 360 boots. I'm giving you an example, right? That means when they keep popping up, that means it's lucrative, right or wrong? A business is not gonna open if it's not lucrative, okay? I read Minister Lambrix, he's gonna regulate them or whatever. But if we put a fee, just an example I'm saying, we put a fee on them, we take an example, what are we going to do with that fee? Right? Andrew, we are paying right now, everybody in line now to pay road tax. Why are we paying road tax? You know what happening to the road tax? They're taking the money from the road tax, put it in the budget for them to balance the budget. So what happened to the roads? How the roads going to get fixed?
interesting discussion. Of course, I'm sure Mr. La Cruz has a rebuttal, but
You-
when we
you-
come, wait. We're going to take a commercial break, and when we come back, you answer Mr. Rolex. The great debate. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
At SXM, we're taking travel and tourism to new heights. Here we boast spacious check-in areas, 10 passport control points, comfortable departure lounges, and finally, there's an airport in the Caribbean that takes your travel plans as seriously as you do. Princess Juliana International Airport.
Character SXM, a deep dive Sundays. Mr. T and Friends. Character SXM, a deep dive Sundays. Mr. T and Friends.
Welcome back to the great debate. Of course, we continue our discussion with Mr. Rolex from the URSM and Mr. Francisco La Cruz from the United People's Party. Just before, Mr. Rolex made some good statements. Your response?
One of our biggest challenges here in St. Martin is customer service. Okay. I do agree with Mr. Rolex when he says that, okay? And I know that there are plans. I know that we have done things, government has done things, to improve customer service on the island. Every business, I think, should look into that on their own, because that will generate more business for them. When I say a government has no money, okay, go back and listen, and you'll hear that I said, every plan I put together comes with an idea on how to generate that money. So I must agree with Mr. Rolex again, yes, you should vote for me, okay? Because I will come with that plan. I have a couple here too, of couple plans that will generate monies to the coffers. Mr. Rolex also mentioned, you pay road tax and it goes into the coffers. That's the system that we live in. I know in Aruba, for example, they allocate monies that come from any type of tax. They would say, okay, you know what? Part of this goes directly into this ministry for this purpose. Mm-hmm. And actually, we were having a conversation this morning, Minister Lambrix, myself, and the legal, concerning even that, looking into, the possibilities of, how would that look, and is that actually possible to get those things done here on the island? Because then it will mean gives you a whole different perspective.
How's it different from when the budget is approved, a certain amount is given to the different ministries,
But
and then the ministries have to execute?
all the monies that come in, all the monies that come into the coffers of government are all thrown in one pot. Then it's decided upon which ministry gets what and for what it gets it. That's how it happens. Okay, but let me give you a small example. Let's say, for example, Mr. Rolax also spoke about housing. Okay, my last election was rent too damn high. And I think a lot of people didn't understand, how that works or what actually happens, when you make a statement like that. But when COVID hit and people realized that they are at home producing a lot less than they did before, but their landlord was still knocking on their door, then they understood. I got hundreds of messages. Mr. La Cruz, now I understand what you meant. What you meant when you said rent too damn high. Okay? Again, my idea with that was nothing out of the way, nothing new. It exists in different places. It exists. Huge subsidy, renting subsidies exists. It exists in Curacao. It exists in Aruba. It exists in Holland. So it's just take the model and pass it on, cambialo un poco, so that it works here. And again, where the monies are going to come from, it's also there in the plan. I have a couple things that I've been working on while sitting in the ministry, because I've encountered a lot of bottlenecks that I think, okay, we would have been a lot further if this law was amended, or if this would be fixed, or if we had this law in place. And I think that's the job of your members of parliament. Okay, and not only the members of parliament of my faction, but all members of parliament. Before you sit and you complain, you know what I want to do? I want to hear you say, right, Mr. La Cruz, how can I help you solve this problem? So I have a lot of things that we've been working on with our members of parliament to get things moving. Okay, I have some animal laws that are going to be introduced, that I'm working on personally with a legislative lawyer to present to Parliament. I am an animal lover. Okay, I have 7 dogs, and I love my dogs as much as I love my kids. Okay, so animal protection laws, working on the rent laws on St. Martin, because those are also extremely outdated on the island.
Okay, we're going to hear a little bit about that in a few. Mr. Rolax, as a business owner, I'm sure that you can attest also to what Mr. La Cruz said as far as the rent being too high. But I always look at a different coin of it, which is how can government regulate this? How do you tell someone who struggled to build a building, get an apartment, have a long time mortgage, have bills from year to year, and then afterwards, they tell you, okay, you can keep it up to this amount, or you have to make sure that the rent is not too high, so that anybody can just come and rent it.
Andrew, before I continue on the rent too high, I would like to say, Andrew, that the first thing is I would want to promote the people of St. Martin not to rent. We try to own, Andrew. So I don't really want to entertain renting, because I want the people to own. I want them to own the house, okay? And they to rent to somebody, especially the people from St. Martin, people from this country, Andrew, we got to start with seeing the bottlenecks, showing our people how to approach a mortgage. That's one of the most important things. We got to, look, I'm just going to give you a very small example. Small things where we can change. If we have police officers, Andrew, that don't own their home, when the police officer come by you and they explain you these things, you're like, wow. Maybe they're married to somebody who works in an insurance company and they can't qualify, right? That is why the up party, with all due respect to my brother here, had promised the people then before rent to own homes, Up to now, we can't see it. And they're going for a full term. And they was in, even though the government fall, they was in different governments, Andrew. That is why we want to ask the people of St. Martin to give us the opportunity to carry this country in a different direction. Because, listen.
And how would you guys do that? How would the URSM do that?
Well, Andrew, first thing, once we get in, Andrew, these are the stuff we have to address. Rent to own, one of the first things we have to address. I know people stand up in line trying to own a house or trying to get a house, right? Down Belvedere, wherever they can get a house to live in, you know? Andrew, there's very simple, for example, he said that money in the coffers, for example. There's small little things, Andrew, that we can, I'm gonna give a good example, something that I want a change in this country. We have pharmacies, right? Mm-hmm. We have to have pharmacies on call, Andrew, have to, because we're gonna take off the burden of the emergency room. Maybe he home, he have little kids, maybe they have a little fever. Maybe 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock in the morning, you could run out to a pharmacy, pick up a little medicine or something for your little boy. You gotta run to the emergency room. We have a country, we are a developed country, and when you get up 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, you can't get the pharmacy open. It's a very simple way, Andrew. All you gotta do, they make a schedule. Every week, you're gonna have one 24-hour pharmacy, right? How much money we need to do that? You understand what I'm trying to tell you? Yeah. Another one, very simple again, where I champion, prepaid electricity. Why St. Martin hasn't introduced that up to yet?
Yeah.
GB is in a turmoil right now. We made 1 year with a hack. 1 full year with this government now in place, right? When you get the GB workers, you have to ask them yourself, because you're a reporter. Why do you think GB get like this? Why do you think GB is in this issue? You know what they're going to tell you? Politics. Not me, no.
Yeah.
You ask them. GB was going good. But when you pull, take this, take that one, move this one, put friend, put family, what happens? And everybody sees it. And these are things that is not hidden. Everybody is seeing them.
Yeah.
And nobody says nothing. GB still in the turmoil. You know when the government going to start to take it serious?
Yeah.
When GB say, we got to start to get rid of some people. That's when government going to say, boy, let me see what we're going to do now. Because I'm not seeing the emergency. I'm not seeing the urgency in this, Andrew. Yeah. And GB is going down, my brother. GB is going down.
And then also address the rent also. You didn't address it.
No, the rent, I don't want to address it because I want my people to own homes.
Thank you so much, Mr. Wallace.
The only way, there's two phases. Number one is we need to move into the direction of eventually having a national bank of St. Martin. Okay? You have foreign banks coming into the country, and they are still the ones that decide how they do business here. Okay, we have a member of parliament, MP Bryson, that has now brought different legislation to parliament to move that into the right direction. You know, the right to actually have a bank account in a specific amount of time. Okay, so that is one. But we as a country, we need to move into that direction to eventually have our own banks. Okay, when you have your own bank, then you could talk about, you know what, hey, listen, we want you to give our people mortgages. And the risk, that's the collateral, the house. That's the collateral, okay? When I speak of rent, it is a phase. The idea has always been, or my idea has always been, that you should not pay more than 60% of your salary in rent. The same way you would if you have a mortgage. When you request a mortgage, the bank says, okay, you know what, your salary is 1,000. When I calculate how much you're asking for, maximum that your mortgage would be 60%. Okay, if I could show 3 years long that I've been paying rent, 60% of my salary, that means I could pay that same 60% into a mortgage. Okay, how do we do that? Whenever, the only business that you're allowed to have on St. Martin without a business license is what?
Educate me.
Rent. You could rent out without having a business license. You don't need a permit. That's why it's uncontrolled. because there is no way, there's no request and no, you're not going to get a permit from government that says
it's a side hustle.
okay, now all nice, okay, and we
No
must be
request for that,
agreed.
yeah.
Listen, a side hustle to some,
Okay.
but to a lot,
It's a living, yeah.
it's living, okay. Now, when I've heard so much people talk about, how do we get a grasp on Airbnb, How do you know who has an Airbnb? There's no way, okay? Minister of Finance just said he found a way, okay, good, I have another way also, okay? Once we start and we decide, you know what? You have a property that you're renting out, okay? A rental permit is now requested, or you need a renting permit. It costs $100 a year, which is nothing, okay? But now I know you're renting. Now I could see what it looks like. Because one of our greatest problems is that because our people are in poverty, you end up living in krottenwijken, we say in Dutch. Okay? The slums.
Shacks.
There's no shacks.
Yeah.
There's no running water. No septic. And these things, that is unacceptable. That is what causes people to, wonder, hey, do I live in a third world country? But we need to move into that direction where we at least know who's renting. We could have some type of, control on how it looks. And if you have a property, you're renting out an apartment, and it's decent, wood, concrete roof, bathroom, running water, it has access to parking, yard or whatever, and you want to charge whatever you charge, then it's okay. You pay the taxes on that. Because you have to pay taxes on rental income, but you don't have a license. So no one knows what are you actually collecting on.
Yeah.
So when you take that part of that money that you're collecting from taxes on rental incomes, and you say, okay, you know what, Mr. Rolex, I see that, no, not Mr. Rolex, because Mr. Rolex doesn't know what poverty is, okay? You say, you know what, John, your salary is $1,000 a month, okay? But you're living in a 2-bedroom because you have 2 kids with your wife, and it's $800, right? We're going to give you a subsidy of $200. You're at 60%. That money comes from there. It's directly allocated to that, okay? Now you have, the money is going to continue rotating because you're going to still spend, John is still going to spend that $200.
$200, yeah.
We're still going to collect TOTs on it. You're going to actually rotate.
Yeah.
Okay? But now John will not need 2 jobs to take care of his family.
Because he's getting assistance.
So you know what will happen then? John could pay attention to his kids. So our kids now won't be raised by the boys on the block. So then we'll have less problems with Point Blanche.
Okay.
It's
A trickle effect.
It's
yeah.
a trickle effect on a lot of things that need to happen. So again, one is we need to reach to the point where we have a National Bank of St. Martin. We are in one government, okay? But everyone knows the up party is the one that is responsible for VSR, Health and Labor, and TIAT. Not justice, not VROMI, not education, not any other.
It was one government.
Exactly.
And I
Exactly.
totally,
Thank you.
listen, I agree with you that it is one government, and that's why, for example, any other ministry will definitely tell you that I help everywhere, wherever I can, But at the end of the day, and because I know Mr. Rolex has for his situation with VROMI, And I must say, at the end of the day, right, you need to go back and see what is actually happening in VROMI. There's no one to work. There's no one to work in VROMI, okay? You've got old politicians that have placed people in positions, okay? And they still try to micromanage and tell, hey, do that, don't do that, do that, don't do that. Or they just decide, you know what, I can't get fired.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to sit on it and move slow and nothing happens. But at the end of the day, who suffers? It is your own people that suffer, okay? So again, I don't look at it as one entity that is in government, because it is a coalition, okay? But I do understand the challenges that, Minister Richardson, Anna Richardson, this is not her problem today. Is she working on it? Yes. Might she be working on it? Could she have worked on it faster? Maybe. Maybe not. Do I understand the bureaucracy in government? Hell yes.
Okay.
Everything needs to pass 100 people before it gets approved or it gets done.
Thank you, Mr. Lacruz. Yes,
You see, Andrew, this is the problem with our government system in Samantha. We love excuses, Andrew. You see the excuses? Why we love excuses. But to get the job done is a different thing. The excuses, and that what has killed me. A minister going to sit down and say, me ain't got no money, that's why I can't pave roads. Me ain't got no money. Andrew, yes, I do have issues with Romy. Yes, I'm not going to lie to you. But there's a lot of individuals also has issues with Romy, because after that I got the issues with Romy, a lot of people approached me with their issues with Romy, Andrew. We have people with land problems. How are they going to address it? Who's going to address it? He said, oh, government, not everything is on government. That's the only person who will address that is government. We have building permits in there for years. And then you don't tell me because you don't got no workers. Excuses again. Then you don't tell me you have no workers, Andrew. When you hold people building permit, Andrew, you know what you're doing? You're playing with people's future. Because if a guy is 25 years old and you hold his permit for 4 years, which happened, after the 4 years, how old is he? 29. That brings down your mortgage years. So you're playing with their future, right? Mm-hmm. But again, our ministers, we have no idea because we don't understand business, don't understand banking. We don't care. You got to go by the law. That ain't good. You got to wait, this, that. It is remarkable, Andrew. It is remarkable. And the people of St. Martin have to see what is really going on.
So it's more about the execution, I guess.
Of course. Yeah. Yes, 100 people. Okay, 100 people. Then do something about it. If 100 people have to do it, make it 50. You in government. Mm-hmm. Don't bring me the excuse to me as a people. I don't want to hear that. And Andrew, again, that is something that triggered me to go into politics. And I will promise the people of St. Martin, Andrew, if we get a full term, Andrew, if I cannot do it, somebody else have to do it. But I'm not going to go in there, Andrew, just to collect a salary and look nice, look beautiful in my nice suit, my nice glasses, right? And people suffering, Andrew. Andrew, again, GB, one of the main concerns, Andrew, is GB that gives us water and light. When there's a war, right? Where's the three places that they bomb? Electricity and water. That's the first place they're going to bomb. Your hospital and your airport.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So what are we government doing? He still didn't answer me about GB. How are we going to address GB? He's a government, well, not he. The up end is in government, not me. And something where he said just now touched me a little bit. He said, we're not responsible for justice, but I use one government. You remember I tell you from the calm? Sit down together in the calm, and now you discuss all your business.
Yeah, but the reality also is that they have more ministers on the National Alliance than the upper.
Yes, Andrew, indeed. But
if it goes down to a vote, for example.
No, but if you're in a, it's like saying in a football team.
Okay.
Come on, Andrew. It's like saying in a football.
It's supposed to be one team.
It's one team because when those numbers kick in, you stand up with a paper, signing, smiling. Everybody together. That means now we're one team and we're fighting for the people.
Mm.
If I ask myself the question, and I said it, I said, could things have happened faster? Maybe. Okay. Could people have been more resourceful? Yes, maybe also that. But I will never, ever, ever, after my experience being in government, working in a ministry, knowing what I know today, sit in parliament the way I've seen others sit. Never, ever. You will never get that from me. You will only get from me solutions. Hey, I came, I saw this. this could be done. Do you need me to help you? Okay, do you need me to change the laws? I don't care which party it is. I really don't. That has nothing to do with me. A lot of the things that I am working on don't even fall under my ministries.
Yeah.
So,
Andrew, another issue I would like to address is the senior citizens, okay? Andrew, again, when I was in the supermarket a few days ago, I pulled out a $10, I got avocado and a few stuff, $10 dead. So the senior citizens, this is another thing, you don't need no money to do it. You bring in your stakeholders, which they do it, Sunny Food and Carrefour, all those supermarkets. You say, listen, we have to do something for our senior citizens. Just like the health, they have a card, PP card. If you, so for example, are less fortunate, you still can get health because, you live here and they give you this card. Depends on your qualifications. When I say qualifications, meaning your income and stuff like that. Now, at the least we can do, Andrew, or government can do, is give the seniors a relief on food goods. Because it's possible. It is possible you can do that. For example, give them a card. They could go in a supermarket. Again, after talking to the stakeholders, what can we do? I'm sure they're willing because they're part of the society. They're making money. They're giving their contribution.
Let me ask a simple question. You come from a world of supermarket.
Yes, indeed.
Okay, good. What did it take, Mr. Rolex Senior, to give away 2 bags of grocery?
Don't take nothing.
Nothing. Did he need a finger from government to do so?
No, but you're going a different
Good.
direction.
But
But
no,
go ahead. You go ahead. I listen to you because I give you the time to talk.
So, as a business owner, okay, you have your own inside clock and moral that tells you I need to do good. Okay? Government doesn't need to tell you to do that. There's no law that says you have to give away food. Okay? Now, let me tell you.
I didn't say that.
I know. But
Okay.
we're talking, listen, we're talking about you because the blame still falls on government.
No, but I didn't
Okay.
say that. No. Maybe you didn't understand me right,
One
But
second,
you go
let
ahead.
me finish. When we talk about food prices on St. Martin, right? In my short time here now in TIAT, right? We've been to Santo Domingo. While we went to Santo Domingo, the idea for Santo Domingo was not anything to do with agriculture. But we added that to our plan in the same amount of time to look to see what we could do with food prices. We went on a private trip to St. Kitts and did exactly the same thing. We met with a council, general counsel from Suriname to see what is also possible. Okay, I've had numerous discussions with Mr. Wyatt and even have a plan to deal with agriculture to bring down the prices of food. We've met with the big import companies and asked them if there's a possibility that we could start doing shopping together. Instead of a quarter of a container of a banana, we buy a full container, okay, where the price will go down, but we'll be also able to sell to Anguilla, sell to St. Kitts, sell to Saba and Stacia. So the thing is, sometimes when you're on the outside, you don't hear and know everything that is going on. But as a government, you can't turn around and say, hey, I'm doing this. Because if it takes too long, then people will be like, yeah, but you say you're doing it and you ain't doing nothing. You know, you say you're going home to rent to own, and nothing happening. Where's the money going to come for that? Let's work on plans on where we're going to get the monies to do that without taxing the working class already, tirelessly, to be able to get those things done.
Okay.
But he just said just now about the renting part that he wanted to tax them when they rent in a little house, a business license. You just said that just now?
Not taxes. Everyone has to pay rent on taxes. That is in the law.
No, but
what I said is if you do, because no one knows who is renting. So if you have a renting permit that costs you $100 a year, because you're renting out, then government could see what it is you're actually renting out. Because that is our problem
let
here.
Mr. Rolex make his point. Yeah.
What I'm saying is, if you, okay, I hear what I'm saying, but I can't agree with it, because if somebody is renting, let's say, for example, 2 apartments, right? Whenever you get your income tax, Andrew, they ask you, okay? They ask you, listen, do you have an extra income? So that business license thing is just that you just put in an extra burden on that person. Because if that person have 2 apartments, it's not a big business. You just have 2 apartments, just an extra change for him to buy, for him to deal with certain stuff. So now you want to put an extra burden on that person for him to pay so that means, say, government won't control everything now.
Okay, but
Wait, let me finish now. To the normal business license, you can't answer me in 2-3 months. To normal business license, you can't answer me in 2-3 months. To normal building permits, you can't answer me in 2-3 months. Now I have a little coupe there renting for $200, getting a little change. You want to stifle me with that too?
We don't want.
Let me finish,
We don't
Andrew.
want to
Let me
live
finish.
in coops.
Andrew, let me finish.
Let
Let me finish, please.
Yes.
Andrew, if it's a coupe or not, that person there who owns it gets an extra income. And that will help him to pay whatever mortgage. You have a little child, you got to buy milk for him. It would help him to pay that. You see those 360 boots that you see there, Andrew? There's a lot of local people eating from that. You wouldn't imagine. Because guess what? Maybe your father have a piece of land there, and the guy come there, buy, listen, give you $200 for that. The fella get a little change, Andrew. Andrew said, Martin, is not easy. And I'm going again to the seniors, because maybe you didn't understand me good. Why I mentioned the seniors, Andrew, because the seniors, they're there now and they're getting a very little income. So if you bring in your stakeholders, because I seen them take out some beautiful pictures with stakeholders, bring them in and ask them, what can we do? Again, creativeness, Andrew. You have to be creative once you are in government. Again, you need government partners to agree with you, because that's another challenge again. You know,
The politics.
The politics, because maybe if maybe even me and you get in tomorrow, maybe he say, "Boy, relax, I don't like that." Maybe he don't like it because tomorrow he say, "Boy, relax, will get a big shot if he let that go." You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's something good for the seniors to get that senior relief in food goods. That's all. When I say senior relief, not that they're in pain. Maybe when they reach there, remember, it's an example, because he might take it for what I say. It's an example. When they reach there, they have the card. It's valid for 1 year. Just example I'm saying. They have to be there. They come with the shoulder card. Okay, these stuff, we sell it to you, cost price plus 5%. Example, eh? So they get it lower than a normal citizen or a normal person that comes in. But again, they have details to that, Andrew. But these, what I'm saying, creativeness. If you're creative, it don't make sense.
So I have one more question for Mr. Rolex. What is the basket of goods? The basket of goods, right, went from, I think, 12 articles to 72 articles, okay, that are controlled by government. Controlled by government. This is the maximum price that you are allowed to pay for these necessities on the island.
Still high, Andrew.
Again, I can't ask the supermarket to sell something because the profit margin is what is controlled on these goods. And if you go into the supermarket and you pull that list off and you see these articles, those are exactly what you need to survive. Everything out of that basket of goods is luxury.
But Andrew,
Okay? So senior citizens, right, have that choice. If they see something that is higher, they know how and where to report it. That is one. Lottery booths, government is working on that. It's an old legislation that was there that allowed lottery companies to open up whatever. It's not 360, okay? It's 360 maybe selling points, but a supermarket is also added to that. So you won't see 360 lottery booths put up all over.
The gas station too, and
gas
stuff like
station, all those places now are selling. So that is, okay, is it something that needs to be controlled? Yeah. You know, should we know where it's being placed? Yes, because it entices our young to get into that world. And we don't want to enslave our own people with with habits as gambling. You know, we don't want that. That is not the goal, okay? So senior citizens, right? Basket of good. If you go into a supermarket and things are higher than it should be, there's a list. TIAT is there. I am always available, okay, and ready to listen and hear and help, always.
All right. We have to do closing words, guys. I mean, geez, I enjoying this program, but we gotta go. Mr. Rolex.
Closing or?
Yeah, you could do both. Put it together. Put it together. Your answer and your closing.
Well, Andrew, at the end of the day, I believe he wants the best for St. Martin, and I want the best for St. Martin. But we have two different points and approaches. And then tomorrow, you never know, maybe we might sit down on the same table and we have to agree to disagree. But then again, Andrew, I still want us to go for the best of the country. And again, I will continue saying we have to be more creative for the people of this country and be more open and promote them too. When I say promote entrepreneurship for young people, bring certain things forward that they self can come. Don't just talk it, don't just talk it and do different, but really try to promote. I don't know if the gentleman knows, there's a lot of people, Mr. La Cruz leaves the island, and I talk to them, young folks my age, and they say they don't want to come. Rolex, look what you're going through. Why comes to Martin for? Trust me, I seen it and I hear it, my brother. And it saddens me when you hear that, because they don't want to come back. They don't want to come back because of all what is going on. You gotta fight, you gotta this. When you put in a permit, it's so you gotta call Francisco 10 times. But Francisco, you got you. But you see what the man is sign it. I think he knows that. And it's tiring, Andrew. And at a certain point, I understand. I tell you again, the backbone. There's certain people maybe can't take it, Andrew. You have a piece of land, you gotta fight with a minister to get a building permit. You gotta fight with some people that work in government to get it through. So I wish the best for St. Martin, of course, and for the government. And I would like to ask the people of St. Martin to give us the opportunity this next election that is coming, the URSM.
The URSM. All right, that's Mr. Rolex, Mr. La Cruz.
So actually, it has been a pleasure sitting here with you, Mr. Andrew and Mr. Rolex, because it gives you the opportunity to see from a different point of view, what people are thinking. Like he said, you never know where we'll be sitting. Okay, it will always be green, that's for sure. And I truly believe that if your heart is in the right place, okay, eventually people will see that. Okay, make sure that what you're promising or what you're promising people that you're going to do is realistic. Okay, and I think that's kind of difficult, not impossible, but it's difficult if you don't know the government apparatus. Okay, so when I tell people I'm going to get something done now, okay, I'm going to get it done. Okay, by the way, that's my slogan. Okay, get it done, because that's all I hear. No one tells me, hey, how are we going to get it done? I'm like, no, let's get it done. Okay, so again, a pleasure sitting with you. There's a lot of work to be done.
Yes, sir.
And we've got a couple months more before election. And I'd like everyone to know I am Francisco La Cruz. I'm a candidate on the UPP slate, and I will always be there to work for you. You could reach out to me any way that you like, via email, Facebook, messages. My number is 526-6868. That has been my number before election, after election, during election. That number never changes.
And one last thing,
Yeah.
I also would like to address to the people of St. Martin, I started with a computer center in Soccer Garden.
Oh, yes.
It's going very well, Andrew. I'm getting a lot of people come in, and I really appreciate it, and I would like to continue doing it. And I have a Facebook page, Julian Rolex, elect Julian Rolex Jr. They can always contact me through there, send me a message, or they can always contact me. Give me a call on 588-1216. For any time, any advice, I'm open. They can come through the center too and get the basic computer skills and much more.
Thank you, gentlemen. It was really nice. Of course, this has been the great debate. Thank you so much for joining us. Of course, until next week, we have another interesting program planned for you. Have a good one.
switch. Get faster internet for less.